Hello everyone, I'm GNIINIIFC and this is Blue Lions TV, and today I'm bringing you guys a combined Predict the 11 video and a match preview. Before I start the video, I want to say thank you to everyone that supported the content I've made over this past year. I've just got past 20,000 subscribers. Thanks to everyone that supported me and enjoyed the content I made. It really is one of the best achievements I've had in my life so far, and hopefully by the end of this year I can get past 30,000. But another quick reminder, please press the bell notification button if you haven't subscribed to the channel and stay notified to all things Blue Lions TV. And one more thing, smash the like button, get me 500 likes for this video. We're playing Newcastle in the FA Cup on Sunday. It's an early afternoon kickoff. And just a few quick announcements. Morata and Willian are out for this game. Morata has a back injury and Willian picked up a hamstring injury against Arsenal. Cesc Fabregas is still 50-50. Courtois will still be out with this injury as well. But it seems like Gary Cahill and Danny Drinkwater will be fit enough to play a part in this game. Both players were on the substitute bench against Arsenal, so it looks like they've fully recovered and they're fully match fit. Now getting straight into the prediction for the squad, starting with the goalkeeper, and that's going to be the easiest one. Willy Caballero will continue in goal, and his form's been decent. Caballero is a kind of funny goalkeeper. I think due to not playing as many games, I think he's more susceptible to maybe flapping at a few opportunities when it comes to him, but as he grows into the game, you can see his fantastic shot-stopping ability. I mean, this guy he's always been a great goalkeeper, even since he was at La Liga when he was playing for Malaga in particular. He's always had a big reputation, so in a way, we're continuing that trend of having fantastic backup goalkeepers. In the back three, I expect there to be some changes. On the right hand side, I think that Azpilicueta will be rested for this game against Newcastle. Rudiger will play on the right hand side. In the middle of the back three, I expect David Luiz to return to the team. I think Conte will decide to rest Christensen. I definitely think this team is missing David Luiz, particularly for his leadership abilities. It's one of his most underrated facets of his game. His communication skills are amazing. He really led that back three perfectly, and he was one of the main reasons why we didn't make so many individual mistakes at the back. And on the left hand side, I expect Gary Cahill to return to the team. I see us using a 3-4-3 for the game against Newcastle, so in midfield I expect Kante to be playing alongside Danny Drinkwater. We really haven't utilised this partnership as much throughout the season. I think that it has great potential. I think it's going to give Conte a lot to think about if they have another good performance against Newcastle, so it should be interesting to see. For the wing-back positions, I expect Zappacosta to play on the right-hand side, and on the left-hand side I expect Marcos Alonso to be playing. Now up front for our front three, I expect that to be Ross Barkley, Eden Hazard and Pedro. Conte himself stated in his press conference earlier today that he expects to use Ross Barkley because, as he quotes, "As you know, after a bad injury, you need a bit of time to be fit 100%. If he wants to accelerate this process, he has to play, not only have the training session." Now already this is a very contradictory statement by Conte, and as I keep stressing before, it's typical for managers to have preferences when it comes to players. For example, Conte hasn't used the same excuse for Kurt Zouma or Baba Rahman. Instead, he stated that both players need time away to regain their fitness and their form. Conte has stated that Charlie Masunda is available to face Newcastle, but he hasn't confirmed whether he's going to leave on loan because Masunda has been left out of the under-23 match squad and the senior match squad as well. Now this is the lineup I've gone for the game against Newcastle. In goal, I've stayed with Caballero. Now on the back three, I've made a change. On the right hand side, I've gone for Christensen. In the middle, I've gone for David Luiz, and on the left, I've gone for Rudiger. I'm really thinking that we need David Luiz back in this team. It's criminal that Christensen and Luiz can't play together in this back three. I think that if we use them against Newcastle, it will be a good test to see how well they can do together. This team is definitely missing some of David Luiz's distribution out from the back. For the wing-back positions, I've gone for Moses and Marcos Alonso. I really don't think that Zappacosta is that accomplished as a player, and I prefer to have Moses even if his form isn't the best. In the middle, I've gone for Kante and Drinkwater. I think that if Cesc is still 50-50, I wouldn't risk him. And up front, I went for Charlie Masunda, Ross Barkley and Eden Hazard. I think with Pedro, as I've stated for more than a year now, he's one of these guys that in 4 games will play 1 good game, 1 average one, and then 2 below standard games. Newcastle won't be using their full strength team, so Conte should be using some youth players in this game. Now this will be the start of the match preview. And before I start it, wasn't that Migos album so disappointing? Ugh, what a waste of an hour and a half. But getting straight back into the preview, we actually have a fairly good record against Newcastle when it comes to knockout round football. Out of the 6 games we've played them, we've beaten them 5 out of 6 times. Recently, Rafa Benitez has made Newcastle a very conservative team when they play against any top 6 clubs. So what this means is they like to defend very deep, as we know a lot of these teams do. Newcastle use a 4-1-4-1 system, and I'm guessing how they're going to play is they're going to have the holding midfielder, who might be Hayden, dropping deep to help support the defenders whenever Hazard's on the ball, and then you'll have Atsu and Murphy dropping deeper to help support the fullbacks. Now Newcastle's threat is going to come from the wide areas. What Atsu and Murphy are going to bring is width and dynamism out on the flanks. Newcastle will look to play the balls to them, and they're going to hope that Atsu and Murphy can get straight to the byline, get straight to the corner and put crosses in. They have Marino and Shelby, 2 very good passers of the ball. They can play those counter-attacking passes. They're actually decent players in my opinion, so they'll be the outlets when it comes to spraying the passes to those wingers. So basically Newcastle's game plan, if I was to summarise things, is going to be playing a very compact and deep defence. That will be a 4-5-1 system when they're off the ball. The holding midfielder will drop into the middle of the defence, and of course the 2 midfield players and the wingers will be dropping deeper as well. So they'll be hoping to stifle Chelsea in the middle, because with Chelsea our build-up play effectively comes down through the middle, and this is why we really struggle at times to break down these defensive teams. But what's Newcastle's weaknesses? Because Atsu and Murphy aren't necessarily the best pressers of the ball, they don't necessarily help out the fullback as much as they should. They're much more effective going forwards. So due to some of the unwillingness to really drag back and really fulfill that defensive due diligence, we should be able to get a lot of joy down the flanks in terms of really opening Newcastle up by having our wing-backs make those late overlapping runs. Newcastle struggle to create chances as well. They don't necessarily have the forward that really complements their game. Baselli, for example, is a striker that needs that link-up play around him, and at times their strike force can be very isolated, so a lot of their main threats do come down the flanks. I think the only threat to worry about in terms of Newcastle is Murphy. He does have that pace, he is willing to beat a man, and he's very direct. And we know that pace down that right hand side can really be effective for opposition teams, because Alonso doesn't necessarily have any recovery pace, he isn't quick at winning back possession, plus he's very slow off the mark. Now, how can we beat them? Well, I think the most effective area of the team for Chelsea is going to be with that front 3. They have a lot of attacking responsibility, as I'm always going on about. A lot of times the build-up play has to go straight to these guys. They have to be technically good on the ball. They have to keep possession, because when they do that, then they play the rest of the team in. That's when the team knows they can support the front 3. Of course, due to this one standard way of playing, we are very predictable in our attacking build-up, and it has been costing us, especially this month where we only recorded 1 win so far. But against Newcastle, the space between the lines between the midfield and the defence is going to be key. And another key thing is going to be our wing-backs, because we're going to need them to really push up. They have to be very quick off the paces, because we have to exploit that line between Newcastle's defence and their midfield. If we can manipulate the ball quickly enough, we can bypass Newcastle's pressing and their defensive structure. And I feel confident that we will do that, especially if it is going to be a front 3 of Pedro, Hazard and Ross Barkley. I think due to Newcastle's very conservative and defensive approach as well, our wing-backs should have a lot of joy bombing forward and really supporting the play. Really, if you ask me, do I even think a back 3 is necessary for this game? Probably not, because Newcastle don't really have any counter-attacking threat. A back 2 would work just as fine, but realistically Conte isn't going to do that, because of course it's his style and it's his tactical approach. But I think Hazard will be very key in this game. He'll have more space to play in, and I feel that we will exploit a lot of the holes left behind in Newcastle's defensive structure. And depending on how quickly we can get the ball to him on the front 3, I think we'll have great joy against bypassing Newcastle's defensive structure and their pressing. Now, my match prediction for this game is going to be 2-0. I think that we might create a decent amount of chances, but I don't know how clinical we're going to be in front of goal. But I'm not really expecting any threat from Newcastle from a counter-attacking aspect as much. But anyway, you guys, let me know in the comment section below what you think the score is going to be for this game. Are you guys feeling optimistic? Are you looking forward to seeing Ross Barkley? I think with Ross Barkley, the game against Newcastle, as I stated in my match review, Conte has said that Barkley can play as a number 10, number 8, number 9, etc. But I wasn't expecting him to play him in all of those positions in the space of 70 minutes. And as I was stating earlier, when we officially signed him, it seems like Barkley is going to need a lot of time And really it's going to depend on how quickly Conte can use Barkley in his correct position and get the best out of him. We've already seen with Bakayoko what type of negative effects it can have on a player. But anyway you guys, thank you for watching today's Predict That 11 video / match preview. Please like, comment and subscribe. Press the bell notification button if you haven't pressed that and stay notified to all things Blue Line CV. Thank you to everyone that's doing that because it's reached 10% now. It used to be 7% before. And I expect another Transfer Daily video later out tonight. Anyway you guys, I'm GNIINIIFC. This is Blue Line CV. Signing out.